I think one of the biggest impacts on negotiations now has been the legislation passed in California and New York and a number of other states, which doesn't allow employers to ask about your employment history.
Meaning your pay history or your
pay history. Yeah. The California law went into effect on January 1, the New York law at the end of December. And that has been the biggest sea change that I've seen in some time, because typically what happened is you presented your employment pay history to an employer, and then you negotiated as best you could based on your leverage. And often someone would say to you, I'm not going to pay you more because I don't pay X percent over someone's last deal. Or in the negotiations for the Crown, which I was not part of, but like all of us, I observed from the outside, you might be the star of this. He might be clearly second to you. You might be the thing that drives the engine, but he was paid more than you in the past, so I'm going to pay him more now. As opposed to being able to go in and say, she's going to be the queen. She's going to be the center of this universe. And this is what that person should be paid. That is something that we have the ability to do now. Now, of course, at the end, it always comes down to leverage. How much do they want that person, and what are their alternatives? But if they want the person a lot and the alternatives are few, then you have the leverage to make a good deal. And that, I think, has been perhaps the biggest thing that has changed in the last 90 to 120 days in terms of the way we negotiate. And I think it impacted, for the most part, I found, not for the most part, exclusively I found in my practice this pilot season, it meant tremendous gains in the deals that I negotiated.
So if you can't look retroactively, can you look laterally? Are you aware of what co-stars are making? And
you look at your bottom line and what you're willing to pay. Yeah, ultimately you know what everyone is making, and in some cases you know the employment history because you employed the person. But it becomes down to, you can't discuss it in negotiations. You know? You can't say to someone, what did you make the last time? And here's what I'm going to pay you based on that.
Well, I'm also thinking about All the Money in the World and how that happened. And if you have any insight into the pay disparity between Mark Wahlberg and Michelle Williams and
you know, I don't represent either one of them,
Sure.
so I saw that from the outside as any number of people. I had some insight, you know, I had some inside information on some of it, but a lot of it goes back to this issue of who makes the decision about the product? Why does so much of the product that we see on TV and in film, why is it driven by the male narrative? And when it's driven by the male narrative, of course the male actor becomes more important, gets the credit for the success, and has the ability to negotiate for more. So as we change the industry as a whole, as we change and there are more women and other kinds of people making these decisions, we're going to see a change in the product, and we're going to see more parity in the payment. You know, it is a little puzzling how two people in the same talent agency might not know or might have. I think that the thing that I understood, which has been widely reported in the press, is that she understood that no one was making more for these reshoots. Now, it doesn't address the issue of why her base pay relative to her co-star's base pay was so much less. That was a result of her employment history and, again, the sense of who drives the narrative.
So is something do you routinely do this now where you have some sort of clause where even if you don't know what the numbers are, they can't make more or less?
I say it all the time. I say it in every deal.
Oh.
Every deal.
How is it, what is that called, a favored nation or a, what?
Well, first of all, the notion of favored nations as to any number of provisions has always existed. You know, no more favorable treatment as to how, credit, no more favorable treatment as to any number of things. Now we're saying no more favorable treatment as to pay, which typically was never done because pay was always precedential as opposed to, you know, particular. And for the most part, I'm finding that people are saying, no, I won't put it in the contract, but we'll say, either they're saying, you've taken all the money, Nina, so there is no more, there is no chance that anyone else is going to make more. I get that a lot. Or they say, I can't contractually agree to that, but I can tell you that no one, that your client, no one is going to make more money than your client. Yeah.
We'll see what happens now.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Changing. But you know what, the thing about it is, just like the Crown, someone leaked that information. Okay? So unless you can keep it a big secret, you're better off just making, biting the bullet and dealing with the parity issues in an upfront and more fair way.
Right, right.
Yeah. I'm sure the producers would say, you know what, let's tell the world that we paid her less. That would be a great idea. And the thing about that situation, which again I was not involved in, you have to think, at the end of the first season of The Crown, she's a star. She might not have been the star walking into it, but she's the nominated, award-winning nominated. You would now have a chance to go to her and her representatives and say, we think this is deserving of more money. And you don't do it because that's not how it's typically done in our business. But think about how different that narrative would have been, that public face it would have been, if those guys had been able to say, now going into year one, it was very clear that she was not paid as much, but we knew that could not be the case going into year two. And in fact, we even made up for the pay disparity in year one. And I wouldn't have had to deliver a check for $275,000 to her a couple of weeks ago.